Hi, it's Kate again, and this week I'm going to be reviewing Divergent by Veronica Roth and The Philosopher and the Wolf by Mark Rowlands. So, if we go with Divergent first, it's a relatively new sort of series of books for, I suppose, teenagers, and it's the typical dystopian novel, I suppose. The city of Chicago is split into 5 factions, which are based on attributes that you admire. The protagonist, Triss, is a 16-year-old who has spent her life up until this point in abnegation, which is the faction which values selflessness. But when she turns 16, she has to choose which faction she's going to sort of continue her life in, and she has to go through a series of tests. Usually people just show the attributes for one faction, whereas Triss demonstrates sort of 3: abnegation, the desire for selflessness; erudite, the desire for knowledge and learning; and dauntless, which is bravery and to some extent sort of recklessness. However, in the choosing ceremony, Triss chooses dauntless and has to go through the initiation there. Then you get the typical sort of something strange is afoot and something wrong. In this case, erudite faction is trying to take over the whole of Chicago. Intertwined in all this, there's a love story between Triss and this guy 4. And amongst this, Triss has to keep the fact that she's divergent a secret, as it's frowned upon. All in all, I do like the series, and I'd be interested to learn more about the world that Triss lives in. However, I do think it is quite cliche. It did remind me very much of the Hunger Games. There is a sense that they are pretty similar, and I don't know whether that's because it is quite a cliche genre. Anyway, so overall, it was alright. On to The Philosopher and the Wolf. The Philosopher and the Wolf is a sort of autobiographical account of this philosophy professor, Mark Rowlands, who decided to buy a wolf cub. It's about his experiences with this. I hesitate to call the wolf a pet, because if you read the book, Mark doesn't describe him as someone would describe his or her pet. He describes him more like a brother. Essentially, the book is about how wolves can teach us about how we work and how our societies work compared to theirs. Mark Rowlands' argument is that we have a lot to learn. I think the way he talks about Brennan, this wolf, like a person, is really touching. Obviously, wolves don't live as long as humans, so Brennan's death is fairly tragic, but it's not unexpected. That being said, the emotional attachment that Mark had with this wolf equals that of, losing a family member or a close friend. He describes how he was racked with grief. I mean, he almost drank himself to death after Brennan died. It did make me cry quite a lot, just because the connection that this man had with his wolf, it goes beyond what most of us have as friendships with people. Anyway, good book, and I definitely recommend this one, particularly for animal lovers, because you might cry, but it is incredibly funny and touching, and just a great book. Next week, I have put aside a week to review one of my all-time favourite books. I've already read it, obviously. We'll be going through some of the themes and events in The Perks of Being a Wallflower and why it has become as successful as it is. Until next time.